Hello, South Africans. To all who call this beautiful, wounded land home, I need you to come with me on a journey that will take us deep into the heart of a shadow that is slowly stretching over South Africa. This is a story about identity, about faith, about the very soul of South Africa. And at the center of it all is a man with a smile for the cameras and a mission that goes back decades. A man named Ibrahim Rasool.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar walillahil hamd. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursalin. Sayyidina wa nabiyyina wa maulana Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alhamdulillahi alladhi hadana lihadha wa ma kunna linahtadiya lawla an hadana Allah.
You think you know him? You've seen him on the news, the seasoned diplomat, the anti-apartheid veteran, the voice of interfaith dialogue. But what if I told you that behind this carefully crafted image of a moderate, a unifying figure, lies a lifelong project? A project not of unity, but of conversion, a quiet, deliberate, and terrifyingly effective project to slowly, methodically steer South Africa away from its pluralistic, Christian-leaning foundations and towards becoming an Islamic state in all but name. Let's start at the beginning, in the cobbled streets of District 6, in Cape Town, South Africa. A young boy, Ibrahim Rasool, is ripped from his home, a victim of the apartheid regime. It lit a fire in his belly. He tasted tear gas in the 1976 protests. He was thrown into prison. He shared a fleeting but life-changing moment with Nelson Mandela in the darkness of Pollsmoor. He became a leader in the United Democratic Front, in the call of Islam. And this is where the narrative we're all told begins. The struggle hero, the reconciler. But look closer. Listen to the words, not just the music. The call of Islam wasn't just a social club. It was a deliberate, strategic move to formally politicize and mobilize the Muslim community within a broader liberation struggle. It was about ensuring that when the new South Africa was born, Islam would have a seat at the table, not just as a participant, but as a shaper. Rasool learned from the best, the ANC's internal strategies, the language of human rights, the power of international networks. He learned that to win, you don't always need to confront. Sometimes, you just need to co-opt. And co-opt he did. After his first stint as ambassador to the US, he didn't just retire. He went to Georgetown University, to the Al-Walid Center for Muslim-Christian Understanding. Funded by Saudi billions, this isn't just some academic institute, it's a global hub for promoting a very specific, soft power version of Islamic influence, exploring what Rasool himself called an alternative paradigm to religious orthodoxies. An alternative paradigm that sounds a lot like a Trojan horse. Now, fast forward to today. Look at the players on the board with him. Look at Naledi Pandor, the former Minister of International Relations, standing side by side with him, pushing the case against Israel at the International Court of Justice with a fervor that goes beyond simple foreign policy. This isn't just about Palestine. This is about positioning South Africa as a global leader in a specific civilizational conflict, aligning ourselves squarely with the Islamic world against the West. It's a brilliant, calculated piece of political theater, and Rasool is one of its chief directors. And what about Imtiaz Sooliman of Gift of the Givers? A saint in the eyes of many, and indeed his charity work has saved lives. But ask yourself, why is a non-governmental relief organization so deeply embedded in our state's foreign policy? Why does it have such unparalleled access and influence? It creates a powerful, unassailable narrative. The compassionate, capable Muslim, stepping in where the state has failed. It builds immense goodwill. It softens the ground. It makes the population receptive. It is public relations on a divine scale, and it perfectly complements the political and legal maneuvers of Rasool and Pandor. This is the network. This is the project. Rasool with his political and diplomatic clout. Pandor with her state power. Suleiman with his grassroots humanitarian cover. They are not working in isolation. They are threads in the same tapestry. And then came the moment the mask truly slipped. Washington 2025. Rasool, back as ambassador, attends a webinar and he lets his guard down. He accuses the Trump administration of mobilizing a supremacism and projecting white victimhood. He called the MAGA movement a white supremacist response to demographic diversity. Now set aside for a moment what you think of Donald Trump. Listen to the language. This is not the language of a diplomat. This is the language of a revolutionary. This is the language of someone who sees the world through a lens of civilizational war, of us versus them. And for him, them is the West, is America, is the very white minority in South Africa that his allies in government are systematically targeting with land reform policies. And the response was swift and brutal. He was declared persona non grata, thrown out of the United States. And how did he return to South Africa? As a hero, greeted by crowds waving Palestinian flags, wearing his expulsion as a badge of dignity. He stood there and affirmed that South Africa would not drop its ICJ case. Don't you see? He wasn't chastened, he was triumphant. His expulsion was the final piece of his credentials. The man who stood up to the American empire, the martyr for the cause. And what is the cause? His own words reveal it. He talks about Muslims perfecting the art of integration without assimilation. Integration without assimilation, think about that. It means being in South Africa but not of South Africa. It means maintaining a separate, distinct identity that works to reshape the host culture from within. He points to a Muslim captain of the cricket team, Hashim Amla, as a symbol of success. But is it? Or is it a symbol of a foothold, of a beachhead established? He speaks of militant non-violence, of not being able to call for the end of racism while mobilizing on race. It sounds beautiful, but it's a smokescreen. Because while he says these things, his political allies are pushing policies that explicitly target one racial group. His diplomatic efforts align us with nations that do not share our constitutional values of equality, of free speech. This isn't militant nonviolence, this is strategic, long-term cultural conquest. South Africans, this is the uncomfortable truth we must confront. We have been so terrified of being called racist, so traumatized by our own past, that we have failed to see a new form of supremacy being built right in front of us. It doesn't wear a hood. It wears a suit and a smile. It doesn't shout slurs. It speaks the language of human rights and interfaith dialogue, all while its ultimate goal is the gradual, inexorable Islamization of our national character. The land reform that targets white farmers? It's not just about land. It's about breaking the economic backbone of the old South Africa, the Christian South Africa. The relentless, one-sided foreign policy against Israel, it's not just about Palestine, it's about signaling our allegiance to a different global axis. The expulsion of a diplomat for speaking his mind. It was the moment the project was exposed for the world to see. This is not about hating Muslims. This is about loving South Africa, the real South Africa. A South Africa for all, not for one. A South Africa where your faith is a private matter, not a political blueprint. We are watching our heritage, our culture, our very future being slowly dismantled by a sophisticated, well-funded and patient project. And Ibrahim Rasool is its smiling, cunning and dangerously effective architect. This cannot stand. We must open our eyes. We must speak up. We must demand that our leaders serve South Africa, not a global religious agenda. The time for polite silence is over. The shadow is growing, and if we do not shine a light on it now, we may wake up in a country we no longer recognize. If this story has gripped you, if it has stirred something in you, anger, fear, a determination to know more, then you cannot let this end here. Your voice is our weapon. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share it with every South African you know. Break through the silence. Let's get this conversation trending. And if you can, consider supporting us through channel membership or a super thanks donation. Your support isn't just for us, it's for every South African story that needs to be told, for every truth that needs to be exposed. It's the fuel that allows us to keep fighting, to keep investigating, to keep standing for the soul of South Africa. Don't let them tell you to be quiet. Stand with me. Thank you.